So what is up? It is a beautiful Thursday, and I've been busy. New hairdo, new haircut, new me. No, not really. Same old. Gonna throw away some Whataburger that I had earlier today. So there's your first sign that it's been a fantastic day. When there's Whataburger involved, it's a good day. I'm about to go to one of my favorite coffee shops, Cuppa. They're at IBC. IBC is Urban Bible Church. They're within that building. And since it is a beautiful Thursday, I'll be riding the one and only Dyna. Oh, there she is. You know, at first I didn't know about the color, but gosh, that color looks really good. Sierra Red. Got the 3/4 fairing T-bars, LED headlight, mids. Exhaust is really nice. It's a Dan Moto. They're pretty cheap. They sound really good. For an exhaust that goes in a twin cam, it's not obnoxious. This is a Sundowner seat that I'm going to replace for a Badlander seat. That seat, Sundowner was really comfortable when this thing had forwards and 14-inch apes. So you had to be pushed forward in order to ride this thing. I'm actually selling it in order to look good before I sell it. So hit me up if you got any questions, if you want to check it out. I do wish I could keep it, but you know, I put money in it so I could get money out of it. So, well, let's go to a coffee shop. Oh, perfect.
Enjoy.
Thank you. So, how did I meet my wife? Well, let me tell you. So when I first moved to the U.S., I was straight out of high school. Started living in the U.S. as a freshman in college. I moved up to Sherman, Texas, where I had a really good scholarship to Austin College. Probably one of the loneliest years of my life, to be quite frank with you. So far, the idea of moving to college in the U.S. was not what I thought it was going to be. So I moved to Temple with my grandparents, and I went to a 2-year school, Temple College, and being in Temple was kind of had ups and downs, you know. Sometimes it was lonely, sometimes, you know, it was great. I had met a lot of great people there, and, you know, continued to have my struggles as any kid would, you know. And I remember going to a Baylor football game because the youth ministry was taking people over there, and football wasn't super foreign to me. But at the same time, I didn't really know the rules. I wasn't really into NFL and whatnot because I grew up in Mexico, and soccer is dominant in Mexico, so I didn't really know the rules or anything like that. But we go to this game, and I'm sitting there thinking, man, the atmosphere is just amazing. It'd be crazy if I could even afford to come to this place. And sure enough, I applied to Baylor, to Sam Houston, and to 3 other colleges. I don't remember, but I went through this one website that you put your application, and they would send you that application to whatever schools you wanted to apply to. And so I had 5 schools, Baylor being one of them, and it, in theory, would send all of them at the same time to different schools, which in my case it didn't. And I remember praying about it and saying, God, like, open doors and close doors. And sure enough, the only school that I received any info on was Baylor. Actually, the very first thing that I got from Baylor was, you've been accepted. And very excited because out of all of them, I honestly, like, I thought it was going to be pretty slim chances that I was going to be able to make it to Baylor. But I never heard from the other schools, and I remember calling a couple of those schools and being like, hey, y'all not get my application? Did I not get accepted? And all I got was, we never got your application. So somehow that got missed, and I was finding myself, well, it's kind of like to reapply, and I was taking that as like, oh, God wants me to go to Baylor. And so I got a really good scholarship. Still was going to have to get some loans to be able to make it through Baylor, and I remember the day before. I mean, it was on a Sunday, the last Sunday I was working at the church that I was working at in Temple. This lady, I knew that she was pretty new in her faith. She had just become a Christian not long before that, and she kept looking at me. And that morning I was just like, God, like, I don't think I can go to this school. I can't afford it. Like, there's just no way. How am I gonna do it? And she walked over to me as I'm thinking that, and she says, hey, I've never done this before. I just feel like God said that you just need to go ahead and take the step forward and go. And I was like, wow. Can't make that up. I was like literally as I was thinking it. And so I moved to Baylor, was there for a while before I actually thought that I wanted to date someone. Because when I was in Temple, I just didn't feel like I deserved to be with anyone, and just had some broken areas in my life that I just didn't feel like I needed to involve someone else in my life. Just broken friendships and relationships, just not a good deal. So I moved to Baylor, and I'm there for a while, and I saw this girl that was in my church, and I remember thinking, oh, she's really cute. I would like to date her, and I prayed about it, and the first thing that I heard was no, wait a year. And I'm like thinking, I was like, okay, cool. Which I usually just don't even, it's not easy for me to just, oh, okay, go, let's do it. Which for some reason it was so easy that time to say yes and do it, when in reality most of the time I'm very hesitant to even like make that decision so quick, especially waiting a year. I mean, so many things can happen in a year. She could date someone else, she could marry someone else. I mean, she might move cities, or I don't know. But I did. I waited a year, and I remember 10 months after that, I completely forgotten about not dating anyone. Not that I was thinking about dating anyone, but it's kind of in the back of my mind. I wasn't really thinking about it, but I was aware of it. And so my friend Vicky, she says, hey, our church is taking a mission trip to India. Do you want to go? And I'm thinking, I've been in the mission field pretty much most of my life. Yeah, this should be a cakewalk. So I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it. Never been to India. Sounds like fun. And then I remember a couple nights later, I'm thinking, it's like, man, this is not across the border. This is across the ocean. If something goes wrong, like, I'm stuck over there. And I remember praying and saying, God, I don't want to go on this trip, but if it's something that you want me to do, you're gonna have to pay for this trip, because I'm not doing any fundraisers. I'm not putting any money towards it. And I really, honestly, surprises me that God even listened to that, because that was so childish of me. But I remember, I'm pretty sure it was the next day, Casey, she was the one that was managing all the financial aspects of this trip. She calls me and says, hey, congratulations, your trip is funded. Yay! And so I'm not excited about going on this trip. And there I go. And I will be honest with you, it was the most miserable flight of my life. It was 16 hours of constant back pain, couldn't fall asleep. I made the mistake of not sleeping the night before, thinking that I was going to beat being jet lagged by being able to fall asleep on the plane because I didn't sleep the night before. And so we'd land in Bombay, and it was an 8-hour bus ride from that airport to Pune, which is kind of like a college town in India. And I mean, I was just jet lagged for the whole first week. It was just absolutely horrible. And I'm thinking, like, God, why did you even bring me here? This sucks. And I remember Kim at the time, she was on a track scholarship at Baylor, full ride, and she had busted her knee, and so she got surgery, and the only way they would let her go is if she would sign up to a gym in India and work out her knee while she was there. So she did, and my friend Matthew was walking her to the gym about 5 or 6 in the morning, something crazy like that. And he got tired of having to wake up that early and then having to do all the mission stuff in the morning, because we would walk all over the city. I mean, we had a map, and he was like, go explore the city, talk to people, and so it was very exhausting. And so I told her, man, I'll walk her to the gym. You know, I honestly had no intentions of hitting on anyone, or really, I was just tired of laying on the floor at 3 in the morning staring at the ceiling for hours before anyone woke up. So next thing you know, I'm walking her to the gym every morning, getting to know her. And the cool thing was that she also got to know me. It wasn't like I'm just like walking her to the gym. You know, it's we got to know each other pretty well in those morning walks. And then the funny thing is, most of the time that we went, we were sent out in groups. I just happened to be in the same group with her most of the time. The second week, I remember the only guy that I really talked to on that trip. We were meeting him for coffee one day, and we just kind of, you know, share the love of Christ with this kid. And Kim and I were together on that one, and because everybody else had their group that they met people with the first week. And so we go, and we were at this coffee shop, and this kid, we had this, you know, phone that had preloaded videos, 3-part videos of the gospel. And so he puts his headphones on, and the kid is just watching that video. And after every video, hey, you know, do you understand the concept? Do you know what the video's talking about? And, you know, he's agreeing. And next thing you know, he receives Christ in his heart as his Lord and Savior. And so it was a very exciting moment. To be quite honest with you, it had been a while since I had led anyone to Christ, since I had moved from Mexico. And it was the presence that was noticeable. The presence in that room was very noticeable. And then after that, we asked him, hey, well, you know, we believe that God can heal. And honestly, it's one of the things that I struggle with is praying for people, because sometimes I don't know if God is going to heal them or not. And it's something that I struggle with, because I like to see facts. I want to see results. And when it doesn't happen, I feel like it causes some kind of disbelief in the person that just received Christ in their heart. And of course, that's not necessarily how it works, and I get that, you know, but it's something that I've struggled with. And I just remember praying for this kid's mom, because he's like, you know, I'm fine, but my mom has some physical illness that needs being prayed for. So we pray for her, and I guess I gave him enough courage to say, hey, I'm actually sick as well. I have a really bad headache. And so Kim and I pray for him, and then when he opens his eyes when we're done praying, he's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, like, my head doesn't hurt. And honestly, I thought like I had like possessed this kid or something, because he was shaking his head so hard, and he was so excited, and it just looked so bizarre. But he says, like, I was like, well, you know, cool, you've been healed, that's awesome. He's like, no, you don't understand. I've had these migraines my whole life. I was born with this physical condition that, you know, I just can't get rid of them. They just come whenever they want, and I just have to cope with them. They just give me pills so I can get rid of the pain, but it's been a thing since I've been a kid. And so right as he's saying that, I mean, the presence just got more profound in that coffee shop, to the point where I'm on the verge of tears. And Kim is also on the verge of tears, and it was just an awesome presence that I hadn't felt till that point in my life. And so that experience ends, and we're on the flight back, and I get sick from Newark. When we get on the plane from Newark to Houston, I'd been eating on the street the whole 2 weeks that I was there. Didn't get sick. I go to a Starbucks at Newark Airport, get a yogurt parfait, and that sends me to the hospital when we got to Houston. So I didn't get to see much of Kim on the flight back. But then after that, I go to Mexico, see my family, and I'm praying, you know, like at this point I know that I like her. And I remember saying, hey, it's almost a year to the date that, you know, I feel like God said that I need to wait. And so I go to Mexico, pray about it, and it's obvious that I am to ask her out. And so when I go back to the US, I made the mistake of not giving a good impression to her parents. I showed up on my motorcycle in the middle of July. I'm sweating because I've been riding from Wake all the way to Dallas, and my bike breaks down, and right before Dallas. So I go to Red Oak, where my uncle lives, and I'm telling him about the trip and everything, and he's kind of like showing me where all the tools are so I can fix my bike, and so I can get on my trip to meet, you know, Kim and her parents, and then go to Kansas City to see my buddy Jonathan. And so right before I leave, my uncle's like, oh, cool, well, where are you going now? I was like, well, Kansas City, but first I'm gonna stop and see this girl that I met in India and I really like. And my uncle looks at me and he's like, you didn't really think this through, did you? And I'm thinking, crap. So I show up, all just nasty from the road, and the whole time I was like, man, I was like, I'm not giving a good impression. And sure enough, I mean, I didn't. I know no parent wants to see that, their daughter going out with this dirty biker, I guess. So, long story short, 3 months later after dating, we're driving back from Temple to Waco. We visited my grandparents, and God said to me that she was the one. And so later that week, I bought a ring, and I sat on it for about a year. The only secret I've been able to hold from my wife is that. And I just remember I had locked that ring in a black file cabinet, and it kind of looks like a locker. It's like a metal file cabinet. And I was talking to Kim one day, and she's like, "Oh, I had the most amazing dream last night." And this is about like 9-10 months after I had purchased the ring. And she had this amazing dream. I had this dream where you had bought an engagement ring for me, and you had locked it in this black locker looking thing. And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I've been trying to hold this secret from her so I can, wait for the perfect time, and then God just tells you where it is, and then I have it." And so I just played it off and said, "Nah, I don't, that's a nice thought, but I don't have that kind of money." And so next thing you know, I asked her dad, at this point I already asked her dad like twice if I could marry her. And then the third time, he actually said yes. I got married to her, and she is the most amazing wife that one can ask for. She has shown me so much grace, and I've experienced grace before. My parents have shown me just immense grace in my life, but there's something about being one and intimate with another person, and that person showing you that kind of grace, and it has changed and shaped my life in a way that I didn't expect. And it's been a great ride. We've been married for a little over 2 years, and I mean, like I said, she's amazing. And that's how I met my wife. So when I tell people that I met my wife in India, they ask me if she's Indian, and she's not. She's white and from Dallas. I love her. She's amazing. So that's how I met my wife. Leave some comments below, like, subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram at Lugnuts.Guapo. Yeah, I'm behind a great week, and I'm just giving this YouTube stuff a shot. I really don't know if it's gonna work out or not, but if you like what you see, let me know. I probably see some pottery stuff, some motorcycle stuff, as you saw at the beginning of this video. So yeah, see y'all next time.